welcome. Hi, I'm Dix Astro Coach. Welcome to tonight's in-depth look, plus all your zodiac signs, to the full blood moon in Aries. And this is a big one. This is a really tough one. And you may have noticed the energy building up to this moon over the last few days. And I will explain this as we go through. But the full moon in Aries. Aries is a cardinal sign. It's about initiation. It's about getting things done. And the full moon is actually conjunct a minor planet, a dwarf planet called Eris. Now I'm going to come to that in a minute because there's quite a lot of information to unpack tonight with this full moon. But first of all, I want to ask you to just think a bit about how the last few days have been. How has the energy been building up for you? Because you may have experienced insomnia, vivid dreams. You may have experienced a sense of frustration and irritation, as if you're being pushed towards maybe a decision about a subject that is happening in your life at the moment that you are reluctant to take a big step about. But what I'm suggesting with this full moon energy is that if you don't actually make a decision about what it is in your life that really no longer serves you, about who is not on your team, about what situation in your life is just draining your energies, then this is an opportunity. So we can see this full moon actually as an opportunity to let go willingly of those things in our life currently that we're banging our head against a brick wall about. If we let go willingly, then it just makes the passage easier. And it means that ultimately we're actually in a much better place. We can have the new beginnings that will be promised by the Scorpio new moon that's coming up at the beginning of November. But let's look at all the other energies that are around with this full moon. Because it's interesting because it's called a hunter moon or a blood moon. And obviously hunting can lead to blood. What in your life have you been hunting or trying to somehow get some kind of solution to that maybe has felt a bit like pulling teeth? And maybe you in some way need to allow some blood letting to allow the healing to come. We've also just come out of, I think, what has been a really difficult Mercury retrograde in Libra. I don't know about anyone else, but for me personally, I found it quite challenging. And I have to say that I'm still going through Mercury retrograde kind of events. And you may also be still thinking, hey, but I thought Mercury was direct now. Why aren't things falling into place? Why aren't things getting balanced? And that's because Mercury will be in what's known as its shadow phase until the beginning of November, round about the 3rd, 4th. But Jupiter also went direct. Now, Jupiter too will be in its shadow phase, as is called in astrology. Now, Jupiter and Mercury, you've got Jupiter, this planet of opportunity. Mercury, our planet of communication. What with this full moon was kind of brewing up, bubbling to the surface, whilst Mercury was still retrograde, that you've not got a resolution to. Because where the full moon is in Aries, the sun is opposite in the sign of Libra. Now, Libra is about relating and relationship. It's also about balance. Now, the sun is about our life force. It's about the little fly flying in front of me. I'm just batting it out the way. The sun is about our life force. It's our energy. It's our very soul. And it's conjunct Mars, which is our planet of, well, it's the god of war. It's also about assertiveness. It can be aggressive. It can be action. It can be arguments. What energy have you got like that in your life? Because what I'm going to do when I've just finished talking about the energy of this full moon and what we can expect in a general sense is just point out to you, to the individual zodiac signs, the areas of your life that this energy may be bubbling away in, an area that you need to address. So the other planet that I've not yet mentioned, which is hugely significant with this full moon, is our planet Pluto. Now, Pluto is the planet of transformation, endings, can also be birth or beginnings. But it always gives us that energy which is that which doesn't serve us has to go. Now, what I want to say, and I'm probably repeating myself, is that if you are aware of situations in your life or people in your life or jobs or anything that is kind of key or topmost in your life at the moment, if you don't let go of it willingly, Pluto at some point will strip it away. And then the fallout can be greater and more painful. So this full moon, if you like, is giving you the opportunity to go, yes, this situation really doesn't serve me well. I need to make a decision today to somehow move on and let this go, to find a way to remove it from my consciousness, from my life. Now, I just want to come to Eris, because Eris is this wonderful, as I said, dwarf planet. Now, Eris takes 558 years to go round the sun. So we are all experiencing Eris in Aries, and probably will do for the rest of our lives. And it will have been there in Aries when we were born. So what's the symbolism of Eris? Well, I have talked about Eris before, because Eris was the goddess of strife and discord. So just think of this energy. You've got the full moon. You've got everything be illuminated. You know, the moon is about people in general. It can be about our feelings, our emotions, our intuition. It's in full light. It's lighting up the night sky. And it's conjunct Eris, the goddess of strife and discord. So what does this mean? Okay, so let me remind you of the story of Eris. Interestingly, she is quite a mystical and eccentric goddess. Also, interestingly, when she was first discovered as the dwarf planet, the astronomers described the planet as having an eccentric orbit. Now, that actually describes Eris energy brilliantly. But there's more, because I'm going to tell you the story of Eris, because I think the myth, you will be able to kind of overlay on whatever events are happening in your life and think about, how does this Eris energy apply to me? And what is it telling me that maybe I need to take care about, deal with now, nip in the bud, or let go of? Eris was very upset because she was not invited to a very important wedding on Mount Olympus. But she turned up anyway. This is a bit like, you remember Sleeping Beauty? That may also be another myth. You know, there's something about this that we need to wake up. This is a full moon of wake up. Now, Eris wasn't invited, but she turns up. Zeus is the host of this wedding. All the other goddesses are there. And she turns up and she has a gift. And it's a golden apple. And on this golden apple, she has inscribed, "For the fairest." And she playfully tosses it into the group of goddesses. And all the goddesses squabble about who this golden apple should belong to. I'm the fairest. No, I'm the fairest. I'm the fairest. So you get the gist of this. What have you got going on in your life that you're trying to assert your, just assert your power, your energy into? But Zeus had to try and find a way to stop this squabbling because it was just getting a bit ridiculous. What in your life has been or is like squabbling? What do you is there a situation you need an overseer to come in and say, right, enough, this is what we're going to do? So what Zeus does is he chooses the young and very handsome young man called Paris to choose who is the most beautiful goddess who can possess this beautiful golden apple. Now, all the goddesses promise Paris different benefits if they choose her. But Aphrodite, she's clever. She was the goddess of love and beauty. Now, Aphrodite, she says, I promise the love of the world's most beautiful woman. And that just happens to be Helen of Troy. Can you get a sense of where this is going to? So Paris, of course, he knows Helen of Troy. He thinks she's absolutely wonderful. Of course he would love to have her love. So he chooses Aphrodite. Now we all know what happened then, because Paris choosing Aphrodite meant he gained the woman he loved, Helen of Troy, but it started the Trojan Wars. So I tell this story because I think it's super important to understand the immensity of the energy we have around at the moment, because Pluto is almost like one of these gods at Olympus saying, enough is enough. If you don't kind of resolve whatever issue it is that's going on in your life currently, then I will do something about sorting it out myself. And I can't promise you that you'll like the way I do that. So, on a general kind of, say, world stage, we may over the next couple of weeks see a lot of disputes, discordant communication, people fighting amongst themselves, or even rioting on the streets about maybe an imposed lockdown that might come in some countries. So that's part of the energy. I think also we may see leaders who are quite up there in the public eye. They may lose their position. They may get sick. There are sort of these kind of energies around. But if we go with the energy of Pluto, what we do get is positive change through Pluto's transformative energies. So it really is a time to look at our own personal lives. And I'll go through the zodiac signs now and just tell you the area of your life that is most likely under the current spotlight. But it's about really being honest with ourselves. There is something I think very important here about that Mercury and Jupiter that have gone direct. Jupiter is about truth. I think we have to be honest with ourselves, and really, it can even be on a psychological level, that ways of thinking, habits, behaviors that no longer serve us, we have to let go of. But let's come on to your individual zodiac signs. And if you know your sun sign plus your rising sign, that's what I meant to say, your rising sign, which is your ascendant, then listen to that too. So, it just, because the ascendant or the rising sign actually will give you a clearer picture of the area of your life that is most affected by this full moon energy. Okay, Aries. Well, of course, this full moon is very much about you. I think for you, it's about something that may be relevant or going on to do with somebody who is very significant in your life. There may have already been discord. There may have been disputes. There may have been arguments. And I think for you, the Aries energy in your sign is showing us that if you're not invited to the ball, you're going to show up anyway, whatever that means to you. And there's something about this energy that things could get out of control for you, Aries, if you're not mindful and think ahead about the results of actions. But the other thing with this energy is that sometimes it's like it's so powerful it takes it out of our hands. But it's nothing to actually be frightened of, Aries, because whatever change comes into your life now, it's clearing the ground for the new, for the more important, for the situations in your life that will serve you so much better, including the opportunities to bring new people into your environment that will serve you much better. Okay, Taurus. This is very much about your inner world and your psychology. I think you have to really dig deep at the moment, Taurus, about what serves you in your day-to-day activities. What could you change that would really benefit you in the long term? Because there really does feel like there's a need for you to seek your own truth. And that maybe there are habits and behaviours that you've been caught into that don't serve you well, and that you really do need to face and change for the better. Gemini. I think there's something in your life, Gemini, that you have wanted to manifest. It's something that, in a sense, is quite costly, and not necessarily financially, but it's costly in many ways. And you have to think, Gemini, about what is the best way forward with this particular project. Do you cut your losses and change it, or just mold it into something different? Or do you just keep forging on? And that may mean that the ultimate cost is a bit more than you'd kind of catered for. Cancer. There are challenges for you, Cancer, between your kind of career, your public image, and what goes on at home and your family. It feels as if the harmony at home has been a little bit difficult to maintain, to balance. And there's a significant person in your life who may be saying enough is enough, and they're doing it from the best place in them. Because what they're saying is they feel, from their way of looking at how you're getting on in your life, that you just need to change things in the things you're passionate about, in, you know, if you're working, if it's your career, that you need to perhaps cut back or just make some significant changes that would make the whole situation more manageable for you. If it's a hobby or a passion, it's about just seeing whether you can get more balance into something that you might be quite obsessed about. So just give that some thought, Cancer. Leo. So for you, there seems to be something that you would really like to get sorted. It feels that you would like to have more opportunity to travel in your life. And we know, of course, that that's not been easy with the current situation we've all endured for the last couple of years. But there is a sense that you would really like to make some definite decisions about travelling. And I think you've had to be, or will have to be, very careful about how you communicate to others, because it feels like you're very frustrated, that you just want to get going. You want to have all these trips planned out, you know, boom, boom, boom. And this full moon is saying, yes, that's fine, but you do need to look at how this is going to affect you and your mental health. You see, that's an interesting one, because I do feel there's something about you needing to just change the way you view how you pan the next stage of your life out, in terms of where you go to, the journeys you make, the inner journeys you make. You know, this would be a super good time, Leo, to actually seek the help of a coach or a counsellor, a therapist, to help you sort out the priorities of your life. So let's move on to Virgo, because for you, Virgo, this full moon is in the area of your chart that is to do with transformation, endings and beginnings. So this is very much about something that has to go or has to change significantly. It's about something in your life, and I feel it could be a project or a hobby that is a financial drain. it's a costly hobby. And it feels like you need to face the realities of what the cost is. And that may be time-wise, but also on that financial level. But it does mean that you need to look at how you express your creativity and that part of you that really wants to have fun, but be a little bit more, the word I want to use is stoic, a little bit more in the overall scheme of things, thoughtful about it. Libra. Well, of course, this full moon is in your opposite sign of Aries. So it's in the part of your chart that is to do with significant relationships in your life. And I think that what's happening with this full moon is that there are things that are happening in relationships that if certain behaviors aren't tweaked, changed, it's going to cause problems. It just feels that normally, Libra, you are so good at keeping the balance, but I do feel that you will be getting a little bit irritated, perhaps with the behavior of someone who is very close to you. This isn't a bad thing, because sometimes just a really good discussion about it at home can clear the air and make things seem much clearer. So Scorpio, this full moon shows me that there is something that's been going on in your life that has been draining you psychologically. It's something about your day-to-day routine, that's something you've been constantly doing that needs to change significantly. There's a situation that is making you feel trapped. It doesn't serve you psychologically. If there's something going on in your life which is not bringing you joy, Scorpio, then it's time to use your ruling planet, your ruling planet Pluto, which is in the part of your chart to do with communication, to end something, change something dramatically, but to get rid of that which does not serve you. Then I think you will feel much freer and able to move on. Sagittarius, have you got children that are being a little bit challenging at the moment? Because the full moon's in that part of your chart that can be to do with children. And it just feels that there's something about, standoffs with youngsters. They may want to do things that you're saying absolutely not, no way. So there has to be a different way that you can somehow negotiate this. I think part of the problem is that whatever it is that they want to do is quite expensive. So you're making it very clear that mummy or daddy's purse really doesn't expand that far to take care of whatever it is they're after. If you don't have children, this is, I think, very much about also if there is a creative project that you want to get involved in, Sagittarius, again, you have to look at what it costs, not just in a monetary way, but also in a time sense and the toll it might take on you. Capricorn, there's a conflict between your home life and your career. If you're not working or you don't have a career, then this is something about the your direction in life and the journey forward that you would like to take, like your soul path. And there's a sense with this full moon, as there have been with many of the other signs, that enough is enough. And if there is anyone in your environment who really doesn't get you, then if they don't get you, they're underestimating how good you can be at cutting, at actually saying enough is enough, things are going to change. So I think, Capricorn, you need to use that transformative energy of Pluto in your house, in your sign of Capricorn, to transform and make your life the way you know is best for you, the way that serves you best and not others. Aquarius. I think we're experiencing some quite fighting talk from you, Aquarius, with this energy. And anyone who does not understand your thought processes, I think will find themselves merely tolerated from now on. If they don't get you, it's like they're out. It's like you're done with trying to explain who you are, where you're coming from with regard to various situations in your life. And it feels very much that you do not want anything or anyone to hold you back from the inner transformation that you know you need to go through. Now, finally, we come to Pisces. I always love doing that. My little fishes swimming in opposite directions. So, Pisces, I really do feel if there is money owed to you, or in turn, if you owe money, then that situation could reach a crisis point. You may have to let go of an idea or a dream that is seemingly unachievable. It feels very much, Pisces, as if you have to, with that Libran energy, weigh up the pros and cons. Because if there is a situation in your life where money is involved, then you either need to reduce your ideas about it and make it a much more manageable situation to handle, whether that's you owing money or money owed to you. There needs to be some negotiating. If there's not, then it could get very tricky. So just be mindful of that, Pisces. So there we go. It's a pretty challenging full moon. And remember, this energy is going to be around for the next couple of weeks. So just be mindful of that and try to use some of that Libran balance, because, you know, we have got the sun in Libra, and even though it's conjunct Mars, use that energy in an energetic way to energetically send good feeling vibes into any situation in your life that is challenging, to try and send healing. And that way you may avert what could be a little bit difficult and, well, just not very nice. So, okay, thank you so much for coming to listen to your full moon Zodiac report. And I'd like to say thank you to Gozo in the House for once again hosting our full moon event for the month. The next full moon is at the end of November. Well, it's round about the 19th, 20th, and that's actually a full moon penumbral eclipse, and that's in Taurus. That's going to be very interesting. We have a new moon at the beginning of November, and I will be doing the live for that just towards the end of October. So we have a good heads up to set all our seeds in place for what we want to manifest. And that new moon is in Scorpio, and I'm live streaming that from my page, Dix Astro Coach, on the 26th of October. In the meantime, if you have come in late to this video and you would like to see all of it, then you can do it on catch up on Gozo in the House, or you can catch it tomorrow on my YouTube channel. And while you're there, why don't you subscribe? And then you'll be completely updated with all the new information that I put out there. And remember, October horoscopes are up there on my YouTube channel now, so that'll give you a much broader, in-depth look at what's going on. And also November is there for a sneak peek. Okay, so thank you again for joining me, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye for now.